everyone, and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we're taking a look at Studio Series number 45, Deluxe Class Autobot Drift, as he appeared in the movie Transformers Age of Extinction. So, if you're familiar with Drift at all, we did already have a Studio Series release of him in his car form, that came with 3 little baby Dinobots, which were actually pretty cool. But this is Drift in his helicopter mode. So instead of giving us a triple changer, they decided to just give us 2 separate releases and then have the robot with 2 different alt modes, very similar to what they did with Dropkick from the Bumblebee movie. So I think it looks pretty cool, though. I really like the look of the helicopter alt mode. We'll see how it works out, and I like him with the blue accents more than the red. Just personal preference, because blue is my favorite color. But here we go. We have Drift. You can see the other 2 that are available. I've already taken a look at Dropkick, as I just mentioned. And Hightower will not be added to my collection because it is an absolute ridiculous robot mode. Plus, I'm not too concerned with getting all the pieces for Devastator because I really only like about half of the Constructicons. But in any case, this review is about Drift. So let's get him out of the box and we'll take a closer look. Here's a quick look at Drift with the little diorama stand that they include with these figures. While I personally don't have room to display all of my studio figures with these little stages, I do think they look neat. The background is always very germane to the movie they come from. It's usually a scene from the movie, or at least a backdrop setting from the movie. And I think it looks cool, so I always appreciate that Studio Series includes these with all the figures. So taking a close-up look at Drift out of the packaging here, I think he looks great. I really do. He's got a bit of a backpack, but I actually kind of like it. I think it works, and I really love this canopy for the helicopter in the alt mode. It looks really sharp. He has these 2 blades here, but these actually aren't removable with most Drift figures. They're little short swords that you just kind of plug into his back. These are actually part of the helicopter blade assembly, so these always stay here. But I kind of like it because he has the 2 big swords, which is what I usually always end up displaying him with anyway. I don't need the short swords, but I like having them on his back, and this way they won't fall or detach or become separated from the figure, so I won't lose them, which I'm always a big fan of pieces that I can't lose. Aesthetically, I think he looks fantastic with the blue as his kind of accent color. With the black, I think it works really well. The head sculpt with the samurai helmet is very cool. I'm going to try to move this camera here so we can get a closer look. A lot of nice gold paint there, but the eyes are very prominent in the facial features as well, so it's not just like a glob of gold paint. I think it looks really sharp, and I really like that they gave him kind of the cool samurai helmet. I think that works well. Head is on a ball joint, so you can move from side to side and up and down. You have a ball joint here in the shoulder. You have a pretty much 90-degree bend in the elbow, and then you have a bicep swivel right above that. The hands are very much molded in, and you almost can't see them. Let me take the sword out. I mean, they're there, but I think it looks a little weird that he's got this kind of big piece on top, because that's kind of what your eyes are automatically drawn to, especially with the pin being right there. It almost makes me want to try to put the sword into the pin, but obviously his hands are underneath there, so I mean, it works, and it's functional, but I feel like it just looks a little off. He's got the hood of the car in the chest, even though the car is not the alt mode here. He's got the ball joint in the hip, nothing in the waist. He's got pretty much 90 degrees there in the knee, and then you have a thigh swivel right above that. Ankles stationary, so nothing going on there, but I think he looks good. I think the black and the blue, rear is sharp. You have some gold accents. Very, very cool. He does have some accessories which are mostly needed for the vehicle mode, but he's got these 2 little missile pods, which are done all in black. And if you want, in the robot mode, you can peg them in here on the side of the leg. This one's a little snug. This one fits in a little bit easier. So you can store them there. He's also got this fan for the back of the helicopter. You can see it has 2 little rectangular pegs right there. You can put them here in these 2 spots here on the arm if you want it to kind of be like a shield. And you can peg in there. That looks okay, but personally I like the symmetry of having him just with the 2 swords. So if you want, you can peg it in here on the back. Let me get this pegged in here. And I just think that looks a lot sharper. I think it just looks better there. It doesn't really get in the way. And that way he's kind of got the symmetrical look to just the 2 swords. which just peg in very easily. And he's definitely ready for some trouble. Transformation is actually pretty neat and not too complicated. I'm going to go ahead, remove the swords, remove the missile pods from the side of the leg. Just unpeg those and then come around to the back and pop this off and kind of put them off to the side. They'll all come back into play later on once the transformation is pretty much all the way done. So first thing you can do, come around to the back and you're going to kind of loosen up this by kind of just popping it down a little bit so there's some wiggle room so it can kind of move around. Come down here, flip the arms around like this. You're going to unhook the arms, and let me get in a little bit closer so you can see what I'm doing here. These will kind of pop out and away from the figure like this. It's a little difficult to do, but once you get it, it's not a big deal. So once you have them out like that, you can flip these out, and then these will kind of come up. You can flip this piece around. Swivel these. I believe it goes like this. So flip this down. This will come up. Flip this around like this. And then you want to just bring the arms completely back. The head gets in the way a little bit, but it's not too much of a problem. So then you want to just completely hook these together. Now there's several places to make sure that you do this. I don't know how well you can see this, but there's a tab right there. That's going to tab into there. There's pegs further down. And also you can see that there's kind of a little latch right there. You want to make sure that that's inside here. I know it's kind of hard to see, but it kind of just fits inside here. And you'll see as we push this all together. So that all snaps together. And it kind of just takes some finagling. There we go. But there's actually tiny little spots right here for the two shoulder pads to peg together. And then this will kind of, this is where these have to go inside the two shoulders up here. So you can kind of just wiggle them in there. So there you go. There's the whole back section. At this point, you want to just have him kind of kick forward. So you can bring the legs all the way up like that. Then you'll rotate this all the way around. And you kind of have to, you can lift them up on these hinges right here just to clear the head. And then you'll swivel this all the way around like that. And then you can kind of bring it back down. Or if you want to leave it up for the time being, you can. You can peg it in later. Once you come down to here, you're going to start messing with the legs a little bit. So basically you're going to flip up. Well, actually you want to first spin them at the thigh swivel 180 degrees. Then you want to bend up these little wing pieces. You want to flip out the landing struts. Then you can take this whole assembly, you can see right here, and this will swivel around 180 degrees. And now that all sits flush. So do the same over here. The insides will come all the way down and straighten out like that. And then there's these tiny little guns down here that you also want to flip out. Like that. At this point, you want to use this pin right here to bend this as you rotate this around. Now you'll see that there's a tiny little groove right there. And this little peg won't really peg into it. It just kind of rests in there. And I think it's just kind of a channel to make sure that this is at the right angle. So you want to bring this back down, and then this will kind of just rest in that channel there. So that when this comes around, because it kind of has to be at like a little bit of an angle so that they peg together. So you want to do the same thing on the other side. Make sure that that's resting in there. Then as you bring this up, these will loosely tab together, and then the whole canopy will rock down and peg everything and kind of keep everything together nicely. So you just want to make sure That's all together, and you'll hear it all snap into place. Make sure that's the right angle there. There we go. Okay, so at this point, if you had this bent down at all, you can kind of just push this back up like that. Straighten out the helicopter blades. Take the piece here and peg this into the back. Just like that. Come here, take the two little missile pods, and they peg in one on each side down here. Like that. And then the swords will peg into the two open spots on here, so you have a 4-blade helicopter. And there you go. So we will adjust this, and there is your completed alt mode. I like the look of this helicopter quite a bit. Again, I think the blue and the black work really well together, and I really like the design of the canopy. It reminds me of definitely like a stealth ops, maybe like something from G.I. Joe or something like that. Really very cool. You can see the rotors spin very well. The piece on the back I think looks good. I kind of appreciate that it's detachable instead of trying to, you know, work it into the arm somehow. It's easier just to pull it off. This still bends a little bit, and I've tried to look at this because I thought maybe I had it transformed incorrectly. I don't think so. I think there's just not really anything that kind of clicks that in place. If you want to bring it down a little bit, you can. If you want to have it up a little bit, there's a little bit of play there, but I believe this is how it's supposed to be. And then I like the landing struts here. I think the missile pods under the wings look good. Yeah, everything about this helicopter just really works for me. Whoop, I hit my finger. I mean, it does rock back a little bit, but let's see if I can get it to stay. Keep hitting my hand. Come on, we can do this. So I guess that's a bit of a problem, but if you hold it, it's not so much the spinning rotor that makes it fall over, it's the act of me, you know, hitting the rotor with my finger that makes the inertia make this fall back. But overall, I really like the look of this helicopter. I think it really works. I think Drift is a solid figure. I really like him aesthetically in robot mode. I think the head sculpt is great. I love that samurai helmet. I think the black and the blue really work well together as a color scheme. You have a couple little accents of gold to just kind of make it all pop. I love all his accessories. I think the little missile pods are neat. I love that you can just kind of attach them to the sides of the leg. Both the swords look great. And then you can pop this on the back or on the arm if you'd like to use it as a shield. I just really appreciate when all of the accessories connect to the figure in both modes. So again, it prevents you from losing things. But yeah, overall, I think he's a really great figure. Good articulation, great color scheme. I know we had another helicopter Drift. I want to say Dark of the Moon? Did I make that up? I'm really not sure. But I know there was one previously. But I have to say, I think the Studio Series did a good job. If they tried to make him a triple changer, it probably would be more cumbersome and just kind of more of a pain in the butt than it's worth. But I think the car mode in the red accent is good, and I love the little Dinobots. But I still really like this helicopter. I think I might like it more than the car, just because I feel like at this point we've had so many car versions of Drift that I really welcome the helicopter version because it's a little different. And I just think the color scheme, while the red and black also looks cool, especially with the gold, because those three colors are good, I really do enjoy the blue with the black. I think it just looks really sharp. I think the helicopter alt mode looks really sharp with that canopy, very stylized and very neat. If I had to really complain about something, I wish these pieces locked in a little bit better in robot mode. It's not a huge problem, but it would be nicer if they kind of locked in a little bit better than they do. But that's really it. There's not too much to complain about this guy. I think he looks really good. It's a fun transformation, not too difficult. And I really like both robot and helicopter mode. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, thanks so much for watching.